Hey guys, welcome to the Stitchers After Show here on AfterBuzz TV, and do not go anywhere because we have a very special guest. So, are you guys ready to talk about the finale of Stitchers? Let's go.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello and welcome to the Stitchers After Show. We are talking all things Stitchers finale, and we have a very special guest with us. So would you like to introduce yourself and let us know where we can find you on social media?
Myself. There are multiple. Yes, there's two.
We need to know all of them. So.
Hey, I am Sarah Davenport, but you probably now know me as Ivy Brown on Stitchers. My Instagram is not Sarah Davenport. I got creative there.
Sense of humor.
Right. No, everyone's the real, and so I just figured I would be not. How that goes.
You know what? I actually saw your
great.
your Instagram, and I thought it was like a fans page because it said not, and I'm like, oh, I've got the wrong girl.
You know, I almost put in the the bio section, okay, actually Sarah Davenport. But then my name is Sarah Davenport. So it's like, not Sarah Davenport, Sarah Davenport.
That's
actually
so
Sarah Davenport. It was just a little too much. So,
And then where can we find you on Twitter?
yes, it's at SC Davenport.
All right. And what about you, Becca?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV.
Hey guys, Gabriel. As always, you can find me at Double G on TV.
And you guys can find me under at Mr. Dakota T. Jones on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all of that good stuff. So we have a lot to talk about today.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was the Stitchers Season 2 finale.
Hopefully not series finale.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. You have to be
I need
careful
more.
when you
So,
say
you
it.
know, for
I
the
need
record,
more.
we are calling this season finale, not
Yeah.
series. We
Exactly.
have full faith that it's going to get renewed for number 3.
Exactly.
I think
And actually, I really do think it is because, I mean, have you the social media presence that the show
Yes.
has now, and especially now that it's over, people are going nuts. Like, they do not
Amazing.
want this to end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I don't
No.
want it. I think we're all in that same
Exactly.
boat. Yeah.
I feel like you get all the people, it's like, it can't end this way.
Yeah.
It can't end this way.
I'm right there with them.
Yes.
People ask me, okay, so what's going to happen? You know, I'm like, I don't know.
And there's so
I don't
much
know.
that can happen with your character at this
I know.
point.
Really.
Totally. I feel like we'll get into that.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. It's crazy stuff. But we start off with a scene with Cameron, who visits Kirsten and tries to help her. You know, he finally says, you know what, I'm gonna help you find your dad. Like, it's okay. You're losing yourself in this.
You're losing
kinda
it
crazy.
completely.
You know? And she gets, she just is emotional, and she's starting to lose it slowly, like little by little. Mm-hmm. And so I immediately thought of when she was, looking at the wall again. It reminded me of the scene that you had with her where you were in her room. Mm-hmm. And I know that there was a string that had been moved, but what I was curious about was, when did you move the string? Because weren't you pretty much with her the entire time she was in the room?
Yeah. So, she kind of left at one point to go to the bathroom,
Okay.
something like that. And Ivy was there for a purpose,
Yeah.
So she had to leave a clue. And I think when Ivy entered that room and saw all that stuff there and knew how much not only it means to Kirsten,
Yeah.
but kind of that Kirsten takes her action off of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Ivy kind of really realized how important that was. So she just kind of took a chance when she got it.
I love that, because I was like, sneaky.
Sneaky devil.
Yeah, but you know what? It reinforced something that I didn't like, because you were so charming in episode 9 that apparently Ivy is okay with pulling strings and the main character's not being aware of them.
This pun going
He's
on.
on Team Evil.
He's
okay.
Team Evil.
There is a Team Evil, Team Good right now.
Yeah.
There
you know?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With your character and Nina, everyone does not want to trust you guys.
It's all these periphery people. We're all so afraid they're gonna ruin, which I think is awesome because that means people really love the crew.
I gotta say that you're just too nice on the show.
I
You
know.
seem so. Hey, I had to bring something up last week that okay, so she's really good with computers. They do not teach you how to hack the computers at Wells Fargo,
Or
homegirl.
Citibank, anyways.
Yeah,
like that.
so.
Oh no, they did not teach me that. I taught myself.
Okay, so you're leaving it. Okay, we could go round and round all day, but
If anyone...
Go ahead.
Go.
I was just gonna say, Cameron was checking in on Kirsten. That's where we were at.
Yeah. If anyone is too nice on the show, I think it's Nina.
Yeah, she's too nice to the point where it's like, okay, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, she's
Like,
gonna get
I know
hurt.
The reason I trust your character a little bit more is because you have you're not too nice and you're not too like mischievous either. You seem like you're like a normal amount.
It's kind of middle road.
It's kind of middle road, which makes you think like for me, I think I can trust her more than Nina because Nina's too perfect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know. I feel like you got going up against Kristen, the blonde versus the brunette. I feel like she's ready. She's shown she's a formidable opponent. Should she have to take the? Because Kristen's big sister, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No, I'm big sister.
You're big sister.
I am big
Okay,
sister.
I got
Wow, okay.
So should we clarify that?
Yeah,
right
sure,
here?
yes.
Yeah.
Throw it down.
This
So
is AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
yes, my mom, Elizabeth
Okay.
Brown, was married to Daniel Stinger,
Right.
and Mr. Stinger was not a very good person.
Oh.
And he left my mom for Jacqueline. Or they kind of
okay.
started a romance while that was, my parents were still a thing. So Kirsten kind of came about as this
What's going on?
Wow.
Wow.
evil, dirty
Love
secret.
child, yeah.
love child.
That
That's a
is
better way to put
crazy.
it.
So you are big sister, and I mean, I think they've told us that, but I never really put it together.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
So-
physically, like, let's just be honest. Physically,
tall.
I am A compared to her, which is she's amazing. So, that was one that they just couldn't really wrestle with, but they gave me some makeup, and I think it works.
It-
You know what I
yeah,
mean? I
for
think it
sure.
totally works.
It makes sense because like she came along, you're mad that she came along, you're not
Exactly.
filming.
Well, that's like the first seed of kind of our familial dissonance
Yeah.
is, like this fight of like, so yeah, straight up between Kirsten and I is like, you're my sister, but you're also the sister of like this.
You like stole the attention
Her.
from me.
So what
Yeah,
I'm getting at is
so.
that Ivy has some reasons to not like Kirsten and possibly.
I think some pretty justifiable reasons.
Right.
Now, Ivy came to Kirsten and like offered to help her out. So I feel like Ivy's kind of put that past her and is able to kind of move on. But when it's necessary, like you saw in the finale episode, I mean, Ivy was pissed.
Yeah.
Rightly so.
Rightly so.
You know
Yes.
what I mean? Rightly
Yeah.
so.
True,
So
but
there you go.
I would try to lure my enemy into false insecurity also if I were Ivy Brown. So
there you
I
go.
don't know.
Well,
See?
season 3, we've got a
Season
lot of
3,
Yes.
those.
I would
Season 3.
love that.
We
I-
have so much we need to know.
Yes, and you
Season
can
3.
try to get season 3 to happen. I feel like it is by using the hashtag Renew Stitchers.
3.
With the hashtag
Renew
3.
Stitchers 3.
What 3 afterwards? Renew Stitchers 3.
Awesome.
Yeah, number 3.
Awesome. Well, we get into the scene where Camille is acting very not like herself,
Right?
and she says, "I cannot stitch into Liam. I am done being reckless. Like I could have saved him. Instead of saving him or warning him in the danger that he's in, I just made out with him instead."
What?
So. I
Yeah.
mean, reasonably so. I feel like she is feeling guilty. I mean, she did what she had to do. She did what Maggie asked her to do. But I love that Fisher kind of swooped in and was kind of like, "Hey, you didn't give up on me when I got shot, so I'm gonna be here for you," and kind of coaxed her into like, "All right, we're gonna do this. You're gonna be all right."
Yeah.
I think maybe a part of her actually developed feelings for Liam at one point.
Ooh. I think it's very. I mean, from what we see in the episode where Camille,
Just because of how brokenhearted.
exactly, she's in a rough spot, and the fact that he came in and swooped in to kind of be the
Her rock.
Yeah, her rock. Very good word. He kind of has become more appealing to her, and we see that when she gets a little tipsy.
But
Uh-huh.
can I say this?
Yes,
Of course.
yes.
Like, I feel like Camille, unlike Kirsten, Camille has like that hard, they both have hard edges, right?
Yes.
But Camille, I feel like, is less trusting in like a specific kind of way, like in terms of boys, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like Camille is gonna walk in and be like, "Oh, his accent, he's just so cute."
Yeah,
Like, all right,
that's-
fine. Whereas
It's true.
Kristen maybe is a little bit more of
Right.
that. So it was kind of surprising to me, when it was like Camille, whoa, like, wait, you would actually let him in?
Yeah.
Because before it kind of seemed like I felt a lot of times that she was doing what she was doing with Liam to get at Kirsten.
Right.
I don't know. So
In a weird way.
It is
Yeah.
very weird. I feel like she's in that spot where she's kind of starting to hit rock bottom, where she's like, "I just need someone to cling on to." And I was surprised that she didn't go to Linus, but it seems like the whole thing with Linus has been like this back and forth kind of like flirty thing where they kind of have like one night stand type of things, and then she's ready to like go past it and just live her life and be the strong, independent woman she is. So seeing her kind of broken was like a new part of Camille that we've seen.
Yeah.
I felt like in that scene, you know, where we see her guilty, I thought it was just more, I feel like this is a death she feels personally responsible for. Like, you know, the other ones, when they have victims come in to get stitched into, she doesn't have control over that. But this is the one that, like, you know, I could have done something that could have not have him there in that alley in that moment. So I felt like that's where the guilt was coming from.
Yeah.
But I did find it weird that suddenly they're developing that chemistry because we've done so much with Lioness and we had that touching moment last episode. So it was kind of weird for me, but I get it, because, you know, we see that she's been working out with him. She sees him with the cut-off shirt, guns like those big guns like myself, you know, working out all day. You know,
Can you show?
You know what? Okay, it's not that kind of show, America. I'm sorry. Now, if you follow me on Snapchat and
You might get lucky.
You might get a little, But speaking of Liam, we finally do get to stitch into him. We find out that he is faked being British this entire time.
That was so upsetting.
I was like,
I was so
What
upset.
the heck?
which I have a question for you. Does he actually have a British accent in real life or no?
Yes.
believe so.
Yes.
I figured
Or else that would be
probably
the
did.
best. He would be he is an amazing actor. But like to do it so perfectly would be even better.
Yeah.
His American accent's really good though.
I know. I was like, hold
That
on.
was
I'm
really
like, did they
impressive.
cast him
Sometimes
with-
it's hard.
I
Yeah.
know.
And I was like, wait, I think I like watched an interview with him the other day where he was British. What's going on?
Yeah.
Liam can't be. Wait, Jack Liam who's who? Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Exactly.
I think that's because he is English, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you know, I know what it is, but for some reason it's harder when it works the other way. An American actor trying to do the British thing, but the English actors so often, when you see them star in
They get it
American
so
stuff,
well.
they get it.
They get it.
Yeah.
They
It's
really
funny.
do.
It's impressive.
They are so great with that. And I love how they did cast him. Like, I love how they did cast a British actor because, yeah, it's impeccable. Like, the accent's impeccable, and as it should be, because
Right.
that's how he talks. But then, I just think that's brilliant because then
We don't
we
expect it.
did not expect it at all.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. Well, the connection with Stinger, and then I feel like we'll get more into like the anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This kind of
Which that has
Oh
come
my
up
gosh.
so much, like, throughout the
We're
show.
gonna get into
Oh
that.
yeah.
I was excited to get some answers on that, but I still want to know more.
Yeah.
I
Reasons
wanna
we need
know
a season
more.
3.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna keep saying.
Can we just start a list?
Yes,
Can we like?
exactly.
Can I get a?
It's gonna be a long list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Nina is finally, having another overnight stay with Cameron. And it seems like they're working things out. And she finds this badge. Well, I love this because she's like, what is this? This is hilarious. And he's
Yeah,
like,
she laughed.
She's like,
I
this is a
loved
joke.
it. Her
I
laugh.
know.
Yeah.
instead of being like, okay, what is this? She's like, what is this? Like, I loved how it wasn't like a serious thing. And then I was kind of surprised at how willing he was to just lay it out on the table and be like, you know what? I work with the NSA. And she's like, yeah, sure you do. Kind of
Still laughed.
And that's another reason why you don't trust her. It's like a normal girl who didn't have malicious intentions would have been like, I thought you were a video game developer. You're suddenly, so,
I think Nina is like she's in like a really precarious spot right now where she's like really into this person who she understands is busy with work.
Yeah.
That seems weird. I'm speaking previous to this moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
But someone who she really cares about, who she can also tell cares about somebody else. And so there is that, like, of course, there's that tension and
she's
the
willing to
the
overlook
back
a
and forth.
lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think she's willing,
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't see where Nina, if she had bad intentions, what would the point be?
You know
Once
what?
again,
know,
I'm
maybe
a big
like
fan of characters learning our
a
favorites.
And she
Bad
kind of
team coming in.
she
False
moved
sense of
on so
security.
quickly. Like, we thought she was going to be upset. She's like,
Yeah.
you know what? I've always wanted a swashbuckling scientist, is how she says. I'm
yeah,
like,
she
what
was
is
a-
that?
She was so fast to accept it.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
is. And I felt
Little
that
too
too.
fast.
Yeah, you're right though. Yeah, when I think it was the previous episode when they kiss, when she comes
Yeah.
in and she's
Yeah.
like, I am awesome too. She like straight up went like, they were just back
Yeah.
on right
Yeah.
then, and she was so upset. So yeah, there is like a little bit there.
It's
Yeah.
a little weird.
I think that's when we saw Nina with the mustache. She doesn't know that Cameron is dreaming about this blonde in a black skin tight bodysuit. So she's like, I know you're dreaming about your blonde, but you're missing out on all this.
of this.
She played that card and
Yeah.
was like,
Rightly so though.
Yeah.
Rightly
So-
so.
Rightly so. And I love her character. And even though we want to trust her, but we feel like we can't, I love characters like that because it keeps us on our toes, and it's not just the normal character that gets introduced to you. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
I feel the same about your character, especially when, Kirsten finally goes to the power plant. I wasn't expecting the door to open and for you to be there. I was
No?
not at
I was
all.
not expecting that.
Who were you expecting?
I was expecting it to be Stinger.
Yeah,
I was actually thinking maybe.
Maybe, or one of his hitmen.
Just
or
a random
something.
other
guy.
yeah.
Okay.
I felt
So
like
when-
you were gonna show up, or it might have. That was when we were gonna find out it was Nina.
Ooh.
So I thought it was gonna be you
Nina's
or her.
behind the
Nina's
whole
like,
dang
actually,
thing.
I'm Stinger.
Hey, I think it's one of you two. I'm just not sure which one of you guys is playing the nice girl card more.
I know.
I really want Nina to be entangled in all of this.
Yeah.
Because I like her character, and I like not being able to trust her.
Yeah.
And figure it out.
I
Yeah.
feel like more people trust your character than hers, though.
Which is silly, guys.
It really
Honestly.
is.
I mean, you just showed up.
We got a lot of answers.
No, well, I feel like we've gotten a lot more answers from your character than hers, because hers, it's just like, I don't know if it's a facade or not, but she's showing all the good stuff, and you're, actually giving us some answers and stuff, so we feel like, okay, we're getting answers, so it must be genuine.
Yes,
you know what I'm
see,
saying?
but with more investment and knowledge comes more danger and power.
question.
Am I
True.
right?
You're right.
I just
My
know.
question, would you think that Ivy Brown is a good poker player? In
Oh.
that
Oh, yeah.
she
I
knows
think
how to
so.
hide her
Yes.
cards.
Yes.
She
Yeah.
knows how to...
She would walk in there and she'd be the one who would drop all of her cards at first or something
Yeah.
like that and make you all think that she was dumb, and then she would play you up and down. Absolutely.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think so.
Who would
That's what
win,
I'm
Kirsten
feeling.
or Ivy?
Ooh.
In what are we talking? Poker?
Yes.
Okay.
I think
was
I would
thinking-
win.
I think so.
I think Ivy
so.
would win.
I
Yeah.
think so. I feel like Kirsten
In a
would be like,
fist
"What's
fight
poker?"
now?
Yeah, yes. What's poker?
Yeah, she'd be like, "What is
What's
that?"
poker? I'm too busy
Just like
teaching it to
hockey,
people.
no.
She'd be like, "What is poker?" And you know what? I'm okay. I'm not really that hungry. I get. It's like some appetizer. I'm good. I'm alright.
Got stuff to do.
Yeah.
But what shocked me, you got the biggest bomb of the whole season finale. You gave us the line. Ivy tells Kirsten after the NSA comes in and does their thing. The mom is still alive.
And the
Yes,
close up
the
on your
close-up I was
face, your
gonna say.
mouth.
Yeah, hey, I have a question. Can you say it in that Ivy Brown voice that's just so menacing?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Your mother is still alive.
That's just like gives me chills.
Chills right there.
That's so good.
So great.
That was
Thanks, guys.
awesome.
I love
that.
that.
Was awesome.
I love that. Like, your character always knows what's gonna happen. I feel like before it happens. So she's like, I'm so mad at you. You've ruined everything. My dad is gone. He's cleared out. He's left me too. And she almost cues the NSA. She's like, oh, otherwise you wouldn't have brought backup. And then all of a sudden, boom.
Well, that's what she says. Yeah, she goes, you knew.
Yeah.
He knew you weren't coming alone.
Yeah.
And goosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that part.
That-
I loved
so
how the
cool.
NSA came in, because it was at that point it was kind of like they were fooled, and you could definitely see they were fooled.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that scene. That whole moment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we were talking about a second ago. It's just like, how Ivy is kind of justifiably mad now is like, somehow. So the missing link, I think, for me and for Ivy, and maybe for everybody, is like, Ivy says that Daniel Stinger knew Kirsten was coming. Mm-hmm. My question's how? Like, how did that, okay.
Because someone tipped her off. Like, someone told her, like, hey, look, they're about to come right now.
Someone
or something.
tipped him off, right? Because
Wait,
he's the
the
one who
NSA?
left Stinger.
True.
No, yeah, so Daniel Stinger left, which is why Kirsten was coming to the warehouse to
Right.
begin with, right? And I said, yeah, it's because he knew Kirsten wasn't coming alone. So who told Stinger?
Who in the NSA?
But then,
Right?
do you, like, how are you there? Like, you were there.
So because I knew that that's where my dad was
Okay.
and dad worked.
Okay.
So I had, been there and like, etc. But I don't live there. That's
Yeah.
not my place.
Right.
But when I went looking for him,
Yeah.
That's
I
a-
found out.
I think it'd be really interesting if like one of the characters we really trusted at this point was behind that
I
happening.
don't trust that lineness.
Come on. No, Blair is the one for me. Blair.
Yeah.
Because
Blair.
he's been so strong about do not continue this unauthorized,
Yeah.
da-da-da-da-da, that I'm like,
I don't
you-
trust-
Exactly. And he freaked me out whenever Kirsten confronted him.
That was
and was
crazy.
like, I own you. And like,
I do
he-
not-
I was like, no,
My
that's
possessions.
Kirsten.
Woo, my possession.
That's a strong line.
That was Yeah,
And
that
then
got
she
me.
just starts crying, and I'm like,
I'm like saying.
And she's crying for like the rest of the episode. It's just done from there.
She's just a disaster in this episode.
So much was happening to
I
her.
know.
Fully,
And I think
understand.
that's what we were supposed to see, just because we've gotten so used to season 1 Kirsten. She's like that machine. She's a bit of RoboCop in that way. But now we really see Emma show that Kirsten having a full emotional breakdown. So the complete 180 from what we're used to. So I thought that was very interesting. And it leads us to your favorite moment. She goes and finds comfort with somebody, and it ruined all my theories. Because I believe that Kristen and Linus would be great.
See, he's got like
Because-
this weird theory.
No, see, here's my thing.
It's like only going on in your head.
Here's my thing.
Yeah.
They have so much drama, and you can understand probably, sometimes there's too much baggage with some person. And you don't realize who's right there with you just as a friend, and you don't realize how special they are.
Oh.
So look at
I
Linus
think
and Kristen.
Ivy is hoping to get with some Linus. So,
see.
because she can't get with Cameron. So.
I kind of thought so. Hey,
I can
I
see
don't
it.
like
I
This
like
is
it.
unofficial.
This is unofficial.
There's gonna be like a love square or something with like Camille still in love with Fisher.
Yeah.
Linus in love with
Speaking of
Linus
all
in
of
love with Camille.
that, speaking of all of that, okay, Fisher's wife comes in to kind of help him out with the case a little bit. She's like, "Where's your wedding ring?" He said, it just didn't feel right wearing it." And then she's like, "Well, I didn't feel right taking mine off." And then asks him
like, why
to give her
no?
another chance. Like, ask him to give her another chance, and
That was
he's kind of
wild.
like, "I don't know."
You don't know.
Yeah.
Right. You don't know.
I know. I was hoping to at
here's the
least find
thing.
out a little
You
bit more
gotta
about
be
that.
careful because remember they work in LAPD. She knows how to use a gun.
True.
You don't mess with that.
Ah!
True.
That's why.
Like
that's why.
Sarah over here, it's like if I knew that, it's like you want dinner, you want what?
Yeah.
Whatever, just put it away and we could talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that really surprised me was I didn't think Camille was going to go for Fisher at all. So whenever she, kind of drunk dialed him, I was like, what is she doing? Stop. No. Call Linus. Like,
No.
what's
See,
going to happen right now?
I saw that coming the whole season.
I thought so
You didn't.
too.
I didn't
Yeah.
really think it was
Yeah.
going to happen.
I thought
Yeah.
it would.
From the time
didn't
that he
think.
started giving her lessons on like how to fight and stuff.
Anytime you just
I
have
saw
two
that.
characters getting a little too sweaty around each other for too long, that's when I feel
There
like.
you go.
Bound to happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
Summed it
you
up.
see how in shape she is. She sees how in shape he is, and it's like what, there
Biology
you go.
takes over from there.
He's all
Exactly.
about that. He's all
They're
about
good together.
the sexual tension of this guy.
It's all
There's
underlying.
a giant, do you call that it's not even a triangle.
It-
We're in
it's
like
like a-
dodecahedron
octagon.
levels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I
It's,
have
it's
a
like a
question
spider
for-
web.
I have a question for you. Do you think, okay, we know Cameron has noticed Kirsten getting in that bodysuit and in the tank. You
Yeah.
tell me Linus never has looked at Kirsten?
See,
all
I don't
those
think
times?
so.
I just don't know if Kirsten is Linus type. To be honest, Kirsten
You know,
might like Linus, but I don't know if Linus would like Kirsten.
Sometimes you
Yeah.
don't realize how wonderful someone is until they open up to you.
Hey,
This could be a great plot line
Wow.
for season 3.
I just thought about the I Heart Linus thing and was
Ooh,
thinking
yeah.
maybe Linus might like her.
Oh, with the bounce code, yeah.
Yeah.
right?
That's true.
At least the first time she walked into the Stitcher's lab.
Maybe he kind of had a crush on
Yeah.
her, and then from there it kind of wore off once he started going with Camille.
Or maybe
Yeah.
it's
And he
ongoing.
sees Cameron, his bro is with the blonde, so it's like, okay, I gotta stop that. Change the password to spaghetti.
Yeah, spaghetti. That'd be a long bounce code if we're being honest.
I feel like,
I messed
okay, I will say this, now that she's brought it up, I feel like season 3, Renew Stitchers 3, is
Yep.
gonna be, his new laptop password is probably gonna be I Heart Ivy.
Ooh.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be
I
awesome.
think that Kirsten needs to have a dinner party
Uh-huh.
where all of everybody who I need to meet comes, and wouldn't this be great? Fishy is maybe not into his wife.
right.
Linus is maybe not into Camille. Who knows?
That could be a
Just
crazy
Huge
dinner.
dinner.
It could
Yeah.
be a crazy dinner.
Yes.
And then we see
Drama.
Nina and Ivy maybe getting along, and how does that happen?
I know.
I think they would kind of crash.
Yeah, you don't think we'd get along?
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Too many
Nina
new
and Ivy,
characters
maybe
colliding.
not.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't see it. I don't know. But maybe if your characters were both kind of evil, maybe they are working together, and maybe that's why they haven't even met or crossed paths yet, because they don't want it to seem like
I'm
a
telling
thing.
you,
I
that
feel like-
Linus is too nice, man.
Ivy has Nina spying on everyone.
On everyone, yeah, like another.
Yeah, it
she
can get
ran for me.
confusing, but the thing that confused me the most was whenever they went to Jocelyn's grave and opened the casket and nothing was there.
That was crazy, right?
That was crazy.
I want to point out
Jacqueline Singer's
before,
Yeah.
I thought
You want to do it?
before that happened, Camston holding hands.
That's true.
Well, that was
Here we
just
go.
foreshadowing, guys.
That was some major
nothing
foreshadow.
compared to. But
That was
Yeah.
just
yeah,
the
the
cutest.
empty.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we knew that was
Yeah,
going to happen.
right.
But regardless, when you finally realized like what that means, it's just like
Dun, dun,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Kirsten.
Kirsten. Right? I was gonna say I don't know how she got up the next day.
No.
Like just her whole entire life was just.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
That is pretty crazy. I got a funny side note. I have some family members in the funeral business,
Oh, really?
and he called me today to tell me about like I was watching when they pulled the casket out. I have never had an empty casket in my life. I'm like, oh, okay, got it.
Good.
He's like, that's not how things normally happen. I'm like, you are right.
Yeah. That's not how it should be going.
That's great. If we didn't break the rules a bit, TV would be too boring, though.
That's
true.
very true.
Yes.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
true.
I'm like, that's the plot twist. Of
Yeah.
Mel.
You
That's
should have
the,
told them,
that's
hey,
the
don't
thing.
jinx it. Now imagine.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, Freeform has this like whole thing. If you don't see a body, then the person's not dead.
It's true.
Well, have you seen Pretty Little Liars?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we see
mean-
dead bodies and then they come back alive.
I
Like,
mean,
That's true, that
they
too.
get
No
up fresh
rules.
as a daisy and become a regular in the next season.
that's right.
Very true.
Sure, you know.
Even
I,
if you do see a dead body, never
I
mind.
don't trust people dying on TV anymore. It's a new world out there.
I don't think Kirsten does either. I think at this point she's just like dazed and confused. And I love how she goes to Cameron's apartment, just kind of bursts on in,
I love that.
and then basically is just freaking
She's
out.
like, I'm here.
no, help me. And then he gets her to calm down, and then they just start like this makeout sesh that was just like.
It was the most awkward makeout session I've ever watched.
How many makeout sessions do you watch?
But I loved it so much.
What I just said, was it really? As if I have seen more awkward ones?
Yeah.
No. Maybe I was just too busy like tweeting and being so wrapped up because I was just sucked
Yeah.
in, man.
No,
I was in it.
I loved it so much and I was so happy, but I could like totally feel the awkwardness there just because of like where their characters are at the moment,
Yeah.
and like
I
where
can see
Cameron
what
is
you're
with
Yeah.
Nina.
I felt it totally more on Cameron's end than her
Yeah.
end, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then Kirsten was like super upset because she was like, "Wow, I really kind of trusted Ed Clark, and he lied." But
Yeah.
then they were
That
like,
was another big
Yeah.
I know. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, how is this gonna work out? And then the whole thing with the urn,
Yeah.
and you were just like,
Which I noticed on the ring
Mm-hmm.
because it was code. So I, when I was looking at it, I noticed and read it. But I didn't realize it was an urn, obviously. So that whole moment when she says,
Right.
like, that's Ed Clark, I'm like, oh, good. But, like,
Yeah.
I think she noticed me looking at it too much.
Yeah.
I was wondering what that was about. Like, that was a major foreshadow because that happened like last episode early
9,
on.
yeah.
And you were
Yeah.
just kind of looking at it kind of weird, and I'm like, what are you doing with that urn, girl? Put it down. Like, yeah, don't you know?
It's like, oh,
Stop picking stuff up.
I gotta say,
You're like a kid.
that was the most charming scene I thought in episode 9 where it's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
The way you did it was so well done, but
Yeah.
I gotta say, you're like that person in the crime show when they're trying to mess with the detective. You're giving us so many seeds of Ivy, yet you're not committing to anything. Because I'm thinking,
Like, in the episodes.
like, how would she know that that's a code unless she was thinking about it?
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean,
No.
don't get me wrong. You have not said anything that would be considered a spoiler, but
Right.
But he's trying to get me
He's trying
to.
to get
I'm not. You have offered
No, I know,
anything
I'm just
unprompted. I'm like,
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm always thinking she's gonna say it was all my idea.
Yeah.
I wish. No, what's so cool about like making shows like this, or at least my experience with it, is that when I say I don't know everything, I mean I truly don't know anything.
Yeah.
I actually know next to nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm working on just what I need to get
To
get
Yeah, the
through.
scene, yeah.
But I think that's important because if I could figure it all out, I think you play it differently that very first time.
true.
Yeah.
I would have like held that urn a little differently.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean, or
looked at it
something.
a little different. You genuinely seemed kind of like a little confused, like, oh, cool,
Just
what is
looking,
this? Yeah, like just a
right?
regular old,
And
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff would come through on screen to audiences, so I get
Just
what you're
even
saying.
this much. So I think it really is important to kind of keep that shield of like,
Yeah,
Sometimes
I
you
agree.
need to
Yeah.
be surprised too in order to do your job the best you can,
Yeah.
right?
totally.
And I love
Okay.
how they do that in TV shows, and it's started to happen more often now. Because, you know, with the movies, you know, the actor will read the entire script, and then they'll know everything, and then they may play their character
Or
a little
a little
differently
different.
from what they
Because
know.
they know everything.
But I love that they do this. I feel like they do that a ton on Pretty Little Liars. I feel like those actresses, they don't know half the time what's going on. They're just going for it. But
After so much time,
Yeah.
too. That's what's interesting with
Yeah.
series. Like, once it gets so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
see, and I really hope the Stitchers is like that and continues for seasons and seasons to come.
I hope
Totally.
so.
I
Because
feel like
it's a story that needs to be told. Like, it's exciting.
right,
Yeah.
and I feel like season 2 took such a step up that like if season 3 did even the same, I mean, it just would truly keep getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
I agree,
The writers on this show, the crew on this show are genius. So
dude. The
I-
crew, seriously. Man, going to work every day, those people were amazing.
Yeah.
Like, this is my first experience like on a studio set as
Yeah.
well, and that's
Oh.
kind of different because it just means there's more money, which means then there's like anything that needs to be done has a person to do it.
wow.
You know what I mean? And that's really nice. That just means it
Yeah.
runs efficiently, and you
Right.
have to because you're spending so much money. You know, it's all the same.
Exactly.
But that crew, it's like
That's
well-oiled
a-
machine.
yeah,
you
That's
know?
exactly
They're
how
awesome.
Tesh described it last week too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know,
Which studio did you guys film at? Was it
Santa Clarita
Santa
Studios.
Clarita?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you were kind of like in the California areas. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I knew
totally.
most of it was filmed here, but then like was anything really filmed anywhere else besides California, or was it all filmed?
I really don't think so. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like
as
it
far
is
as I know.
Everything in California.
yeah,
Because that's why Emma comes here
Yeah,
and lives
Emma,
here. And,
right.
You know,
Yeah.
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 I think
so-
a lot of the freeform shows, you know,
Pretty much from
besides Liars, because I know they do a lot of on-site for the Rosewood stuff, but I feel like a lot of freeforms they keep it right here in Hollywood,
Yeah.
California area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole Rosewood like entire town is right in the middle of Warner Brothers. Like
Yes.
you go on that tour and you just go around. You're like, well, here I am. Like
Gilmore
right
Girls.
here in Rosewood. But so and we find out that the address to where they need to go and the security code is encoded along the urn.
They found that out so fast, and
I
I'm like,
know.
Hey, I was thinking there's
was
an app for that.
staring
Yeah.
at the screen.
I'm
Yeah,
like, I
was
need this
thinking that
app.
too.
They have an app for that. Hey, but you know, that one. I'm surprised that wasn't a bigger deal than the one we saw in episode 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the jumping around like the house guy, and it's
Yeah.
like. I'm sorry, that's taking
No,
longer than it should.
no.
But yeah, I
I
was
know
just
what you
shocked.
mean.
It's like there's an app that does that and turns that.
Yeah.
You know, I can't even get my Apple Music to work that
Yeah.
well.
Right?
Exactly. And you know, speaking of crazy technology, the little like pod, I want to say,
Yes.
that Jacqueline had
Like the
been
cryogenic-
Speaking of crazy technology.
I know.
And so they go to this place and then they open this and this guy's like and he like grabs onto them and then he dies. I was like, what is
I
this?
jumped like 500 feet in the air.
I did too.
See, I kept expecting one of our suspects to come
Pop
out of the
out.
shadows.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't look at you when I said it this
Yes,
time.
you did.
I was
He got a
looking
point.
at Dakota.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Every
Dakota's
time-
on the show.
Every
You
time.
look really hard.
What would you guys have done if like we would have done this whole after show and then I would have came out of the pod? You guys would have been like, who are you and what have you done? Like, what is
Like,
this?
Betrayer.
I told you if you're gonna be on that show, you gotta bring me along.
That's true.
I would have been right there. It's like it was all my idea.
Yeah.
See,
I
he
was
wants to be
controlling-
the evil one. He wants to be
does.
the mastermind.
He
That's
does.
all. That's where all the fun is
He
at.
doesn't ship.
I know.
He doesn't ship Linus and Camille, so that makes
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, dude, just because I have a very good theory about two friends who don't realize how special they could be to each other until they're actually single and have an open mind.
There you go.
See, she
We'll
agrees.
see. You know what? I feel like maybe season 4. Like maybe let's give
Season
season
4.
3. Let's let Camille and Linus and Kirsten and Cameron just explode
Yes.
and then implode.
Yeah.
And then the real,
The real
the goodness
true
will
love.
come out.
Season
yeah.
4.
Yeah.
I agree.
I give that.
Cam and Maggie, it'll be great.
Before we
Great.
move on from that scene, because I know we got so much, I absolutely love Camille's line, you know, like, we're going to bring backup, and then it's like, I thought we were doing this alone, and then she takes the one bottle.
She takes the
Blind.
line.
And then,
Not that
hey,
backup.
I loved it. She played one ace and then going off for a poker thing. Then she upped it one more when they go in. Then it's like, when she said, Kristen, I don't think I've had no backup. for this." I watched that and I was laughing.
That
I'm
was
like,
great.
that is awesome.
That was
That
I
is
watched
hilarious.
these episodes like over and over again just because like I want to catch everything that happens in the episode, and it's fun too.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's eyes.
Every time my eyes were glued on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
I laughed at that part every time.
Oh yeah, that
Especially
one
with
was
this moment when this doctor like comes out, we're like, who is this? We've never seen him before.
Different time.
We find out that the NSA had taken her before she was ready to leave, and then he gets shot, and then he like crawls in there to try to survive, which doesn't work out for him very well because right as he comes out of the pod, he boom, drops like a fly. But
So basically, it's Kirsten.
yeah, exactly. But then we kind of find this really cool thing out whenever Linus goes to visit his father. His father has a 50-50 chance of living from this surgery, and he basically says the parents are like, we know that you're like on the stitch program, and he says, when I die, I want you to stitch into me so you can see how proud I am. I literally was tearing up.
No, he's bringing all the emotion lately.
I love that relationship. I love that story. Like both of them, it's just so real, and I feel like I said this before, but I like how it brings us outside of like the Stitchers world a little bit,
to family,
but to like a real family, because Kirsten's family is just so
messed
There's something
like
completely
just
organic.
Exactly.
And you know,
Messed up.
Tesh, when we had him on last week, that's exactly one of the things he brought up is that, you know what, it's just so nice, and it just brings out that substance for all the characters, because we've said it before that all the sci-fi elements of it, they're amazing, they're well shot, but the show would fail if we didn't care about the people behind all of them. And that's one of those things, you know, that I feel like Linus' character really brings to the show. You really care about him. You want to see him work it out with Camille, or to have his triumphant moment. That's what I feel like. So I feel like that's really what he brings, and what all the characters do. When we want
we root
Camston
for
to
all
happen.
the characters in the show.
And we worry when, you know, someone possibly formidable. See, I'm looking right at Dakota. Possibly formidable might come in to threaten them, because you know what? We've come to love these characters.
Exactly.
I think it's just me and Dakota secretly running them. That's it. Hey, AfterBuzz TV exclusive. It was us the whole time.
It was just the whole time. We ran the whole thing, and then we decided, you know, let's throw everyone off even more to start an after show for Stitchers.
Yeah.
People will never get it.
just muddy the water.
Muddy the
Exactly.
water.
You guys are doing
Working with Jeff.
Jeff, if you're watching, I'll see you on set tomorrow.
Yes.
We got him.
Wait, season
we
3's
got
already
him.
started.
You know what?
Yeah, right.
Exactly. If
You're going to set?
You're like, what about me?
You know
Where's my
what?
character?
You know what? I think you're the one who knew I was in on it, but you didn't know how to tell Kirsten, because
It's just too hard.
Exactly.
He's the one that let Stinger know, hey, you better run.
Yes.
These people are coming for you. See,
all your
it was
fault.
him the
Yep.
whole time.
Out.
Yeah.
that's
Get out.
Man.
The person that I don't trust the most is Mitchell Blair,
That's what I'm
because
saying.
It's creepy.
they're getting ready to finally stitch into this doctor, and all of a sudden he's like, it's a no-go. And everyone's like, who's ready for stitch?
No-go.
And everyone's saying, a no-go. He comes in, and I was really expecting Maggie to kind of like cower to him again and be
I
like,
was
you know,
too.
she's like, set the clock to 5 minutes. And I was like,
She went
Yes.
boss
Slay
mode
queen,
right
slay.
there. Yes.
Have you guys ever met Sally?
no.
Not
At
at the pleasure yet.
D23.
Okay,
Yeah.
she's awesome. Like, she's so awesome.
Yeah.
And Maggie is different than Sally, for sure.
Yeah.
So I love watching the show now, having known Sally a little bit, and just seeing her say something like that. It's just it's so awesome.
No, that was great. I literally
good.
screamed slay at my.
It's like,
I think you're right, though, about Blair. I think that he, again, I feel like he's the one that I don't trust,
Yeah.
because he did know Stinger and Jacqueline, and so I feel like he has information that...
yeah, and he keeps trying to keep it from them, and then all of a sudden he brings in these other NSA agents to kind of shut it down. They basically kick their butt, and then they
And
put
then
all
they
them...
go boss mode on them,
Yeah.
which is about damn time.
And he interrupted
Love
Cameron's job. Come on, no go.
I know.
It's not your job.
But then
Yeah.
whenever he brought everyone in to try to kind of like, you know, take everyone else down, and the Stitchers team kind of kicked their butts and threw them in the interrogation room, I was like, this is going to have some repercussions. Like, this is not going to be taken lightly.
Okay, what I want to know, because last you saw me, I was also being held in an interrogation room. So I want to know if I ended up in the same interrogation room with the people who put me in an interrogation room.
Oh my gosh.
And if so, I think that's kind of like double jeopardy, and I'm like automatically out. I'm like free to go here. Bye. Thank you. See ya.
I took it under the assumption that by that time of the day you'd been let go.
I was gone.
Yes.
I think I'm a little more dangerous. I think you gotta keep me.
Yeah.
You see, you
Keep me
can't
under
just
lock
say
and
stuff
key.
like that and me not be suspicious about
I
you.
think
He's, yeah.
I'm just
I
gonna
see the
plant
danger.
seeds everywhere, y'all.
I see the danger.
You know?
Exactly.
I talked to you on Twitter about being on our show, and it's like, I'm gonna punk that boy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mess with him for like what? They're on for an hour. Oh, I'm gonna get him.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yep. And
Watch we find out Ivy just likes to sit at home and read with like a puppy or something.
Yep.
And it's like that's the end of her maliciousness.
Yeah.
I figured it out. I learned the secret.
You know everything.
And during the stitch, they see this anomaly again, like you were saying. It's came up quite a bit, and we find out that it's actually from a quantum computer hack.
So it's
So
Stinger.
we're thinking, okay, well, the only option is if it was Stinger. So basically, this little baby Cam, as I call him, or fetus Cam.
Fetus Cam.
We have tried to get the hashtag
We call him
minicam.
Young Cam.
Okay, that works too.
Young.
That
You
works
know, but
too.
fetus Cam, I like.
Exactly.
That's just
And
Hashtag fetus
from
Cam.
what I gather from it is that Stinger is going through someone that she trusts and making the younger version of him to kind of lure her into this whole thing.
Yeah.
So he or whoever's running the quantum computer. Do we know for sure 100% if it is Stinger running this?
We're
or no?
assuming?
We don't know.
I feel
We
like
do not
it's-
know.
Okay.
I feel like it's hard to believe someone else would be behind it.
Mitchell?
Once again, don't look at me like that.
Maybe
I just
Mitchell.
tilted my head.
Just tilt it in. You can't do anything.
Don't breathe at me like that.
It's
I was
Ivy.
making eye contact with Dakota and I'm sorry, that was a preemptive strike, my bad.
Yes.
But because my theory is that it's they're trying to put Kirsten between two forces. There's the Blair side and there's the Stinger side. Yeah, maybe they connect, but at the end of the day, they're two separate entities. So that's why I do feel like it's got to be Stinger.
Yeah.
Like, also, it's been 2 seasons. I'm sorry, but you just can't be that. Gotta say it again. This is not Pretty Little Liars. You get to just hide for 6 seasons and then you just
Come
find
back.
out they're Charles.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is one of those things I feel like you gotta just show them already.
Yeah.
Otherwise it gets to for this show. I know it's worked on the other show, but for this show, I feel like, what? It's just about damn time.
Yeah.
No other way
I
for
feel
me
like
to
we're
put
getting
it.
close.
I was gonna say, I think what's cool about where we ended this season was we've had a lot of these mysteries that
Yeah.
we've been
Yeah.
trying to figure out, and now we have gotten closer. And I do feel like Stitchers doesn't they do drag you along, but they don't drag you
Yeah.
along for 6 seasons.
Yeah,
Like that.
Yeah.
I
they
mean,
play it close to the chest.
a
Yeah.
little bit, but I think it's for a purpose, and
Right.
it
The
keeps the
perfect
storyline
amount.
moving.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
Going back to what you're saying, is it Stinger? I think Stinger's involved. What we learned in the last episode, I believe it was Camille who said that the 5th quantum computer is owned by Stinger.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's someone in Stinger's camp.
Right.
But
Whether it be him or not, we don't
Or Blair.
exactly know.
right, and then Ivy has talked about Stinger's technology, and so I don't know if the two are connected.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I wonder what that whole
Right.
what all that
I know,
is,
and
so.
they find a way to lure Kirsten into this her
own
own
memory.
memories, where she
Just a
kind of gets
trip.
lost in this space where she wants to stay because she sees her mom and she's always wanted that. And so we kind of wrapping it up. That's what we kind of see is she wants to stay there, but then Cameron hijacks the hijacker and tries to speak to her.
And
through
I
that.
cried.
He leans there and he's over the tank, holding her hand.
Yeah.
And that was a crazy moment to leave off on. And then in the midst of all that, Linus's dad is having complications where we think he's dead or dying.
Uh-huh.
And then Maggie's
We don't
son, we think, has died.
Yeah.
We don't know.
And that's how it ends, guys.
And
That's how it ends.
I know.
Can't go
Cameron's
like that.
waiting
Yeah.
for Kirsten.
And Nina too, right?
Oh.
Wasn't there a shot of Nina?
Yeah,
Yeah, there was a
Nina.
shot of Nina there. What was
Crazy.
Nina doing?
She was in Cam's house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looks like she saw someone she didn't recognize, but I feel like the exact following scene is going to be I got him. I'm just
From
saying,
Cam?
for Nina to whoever walks
what was
into
that
his
shot
apartment.
where she was kind of she looked up. I was like, what is that?
Someone
what
walked
is
in.
that shot?
Someone had to have walked in.
Someone walked
What
in.
if-
I
what
think-
if
But it
someone's-
didn't look like how she would react to Cam. Am I right?
Exactly.
No,
Am I right?
Yeah. But we
That-
know
so-
Cam-
that
I
looks
think
weird
at the
to
same
me. I
time,
was like,
Cam
what?
is still holding Kirsten's hand.
That's
Yeah.
my other point. Is
Yeah.
Cam, as far as we know, is in the Stitch Lab. So how could
Yeah.
it be Cam?
Or I wonder if someone is coming in to take her or possibly kill her.
I know.
That-
And then we
That's
stay
what I was just
start
thinking.
off-
That's what I'm worried about.
If we start off season 3,
Stitching into Nina.
stitching
Hey.
into Nina.
It's no, wait. This would be the ultimate.
my
If
God.
it was
Oh, here we go.
Liam, Nina, and Baba, we're getting into all 3 of them. No!
No, Baba.
Damn,
And
you
then we're gonna
heartless.
stitch into Maggie's son too, because we
No, Maggie's son! Oh my
I forgot about him.
No!
As far
That's
as we
too
just
many.
take all four of
If
them.
Kirsten is now, here's a question.
Okay.
Kirsten's in this weird like. She's like practically a vegetable,
Yeah.
right? If she's like in her own state, like
Yes.
can we re-stitch into Kirsten as well?
And try to wake her up somehow.
Right?
What if we were able to stitch into Kirsten, but who would do it?
Ah!
I vote
That's my
Dakota.
question.
Ivy
If
Brown?
she's- If she's not...
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh! Could Ivy stitch into Kirsten? That would be cool.
'Cause
Well, I
coming
think
from the
Stinger
same
was
family, coming
kind of
from the
setting
same
that
family.
up to happen.
Perhaps happen.
That is a good point.
Perhaps
You just blew my
happen.
mind right now.
I just
Kirsten
blew
2.0.
my own
I'm
mind.
sorry, because I can tell you. Did you just think of that right now?
I just thought that right now.
Kirsten 2.0.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is, like-
2.0.
People have been asking, could Ivy join the Stitchers team?
Yes.
And like my first thought is like, well, I don't know if Kirsten would want that, right? Because like this sister who
Right.
you have had all these weird feelings with, like, would you really want them in your work now?
Yeah.
You know, but
I could see it happening.
that aside, we would be an awesome team.
Right. I could
So-
see.
Once
I could see
Again,
Ivy being
luring
able to
the enemy into a false sense of security.
see.
I'm sorry. I know
Things are
Dakota.
so
you're awful.
evil.
I know. I'm not sitting next to you. Maybe Dakota.
Yeah, I
feels
think
the
I've just
warmth
won
and all
him
that.
over. Yeah, by proximity.
Yeah.
I'm over here and I'm like, I don't.
See, I'm like, it's
I
all
don't
good,
trust
you know?
it, America.
But he's over there like,
You're
yeah.
going to be
I don't trust
heartbroken
it.
in season
Yeah.
3.
I'm gonna be like, excuse me.
I'm already heartbroken.
No, I'm not, because I'm gonna be the one running the show.
See?
Jeff, I'll
Done.
see you tomorrow at work.
All right, guys.
Tell them to order the good pizza since
Yeah.
season premiere.
Well, let's get into a few fan questions because we have
cool.
some people
Yes.
who sent
Yes.
some questions in for you.
Cool.
At Mara Nog Queens wants to know if you could play any other character besides Ivy on the show, who would you want to be?
Ooh.
That's a hard one because there's a lot of good characters on this show.
I'm going to go with Fisher.
Ooh.
Oh.
Because he's the perfect, like, he's toeing the line between, like, cool young kids and suits.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's, like, has responsibility and, like, works with the upper guys, but he's, like, totally cool.
He's like hanging out
See?
with
So, I think...
That would be a good character. I think that would be very fun because he's kind of. I mean, I know on season 2 they wrote him in as like one of the like a lead, like because
Yes.
he was
He wasn't in
a
season
supporting.
1.
Totally.
And then they wrote him in as like, okay, you're going to be in every episode now,
I love
Right.
that.
which I loved that. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I thought it
Season
would be
3 for
to
Ivy.
throw down a bit.
Yeah. And at X Cool Weird Kid, love the username, wants to know what is the best memory on the set and who is the funniest.
Who is the funniest? You guys are trying to make everybody hate me. Because if I say one of them, the other ones are going to be mad.
Come on.
I thought you were operating that you're the most lovable one, and I'm.
He didn't say lovable, it said funniest.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm the lovable
Well,
one. No.
if you say something, that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I see. They'll love me anyway.
Yeah.
Who is the funniest? Everybody is so funny, honestly. I didn't get to be on set with some of them,
Yeah.
you know, because we just weren't in scene.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
like, Kyle, I don't think I was really on set with him very much, or Allison. So really, it was just Emma and I?
Yeah.
So Emma's
She's
hilarious.
hilarious.
No, she really is funny.
She seems hilarious.
Everybody is funny. Tesh is really... God.
See,
I
Tesh
don't know.
was hilarious.
Tesh
last
is so funny.
He's
Yeah.
a funny guy.
Yeah.
He really
Met
is.
him.
Did I answer both the questions?
And what is your best memory on the set?
Oh, the
like
best
what's one
memory.
moment where you were like, wow, this is great.
Honestly, it was the very first day I went there. I started shooting, I think, on a Friday, and I had like a costume fitting on the Thursday, the day before. And just the first time walking in, they were filming the scene in, I think it was in episode 9, I think, when Blair tells Kirsten to like stop the unauthorized search. And
Yeah.
she's like, you can't tell me to
Yeah.
stop for my father, like where they're all in the meeting room there. And so everybody was there that day. So I got to walk in, and everybody's like, "This is Ivy. This is my
so
sister," you know. And I'm
cool.
like, and like, but like, I'm also in the lab, so it's like also me being like,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean, all this stuff. So
Cool.
That's
that
awesome.
was really
that,
cool.
that is a cool moment where you're kind of like, wow, like I'm a part of this world now. Like that's insane.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
definitely.
Well,
And
welcome to the
I
club.
see like resemblance between you and Emma.
Same.
Say it again.
I see resemblance between you and Emma.
Do you?
Really?
Do you all like look at each other like what? Because
Like you're supposed
You
to be my
both look-
sister.
I mean,
you all
you
look
both,
alike.
I mean, besides being like blonde and brunette, like you guys have similar features, like facial features, and like the way that you guys will react to things, you know, like
Yeah.
with different lines. Like you guys, I was like, are they really sisters somehow in real life?
I was like, I know it was Australian.
it was
But
crazy.
I wish
yeah.
I could, like with the mannerisms, like I wish I could take credit and be like, I studied her, I practiced that. But no, that was just so random, which is like what's amazing about casting.
The
you
casting
know,
is so good.
Yeah, they're, amazing.
Honestly.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
The young characters look like young Cameron looks
Mom.
like Cameron.
I know
everything.
Yeah.
they did an
That was a
impeccable
trip.
job of that because sometimes you're like, okay, how did this person like come from them or how are they siblings? But it was impeccable. I was like, wow, yeah,
Totally
Yeah.
agreed.
it was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And then one other question I definitely want to ask is Tina underscore Hororka. Is that the one you were gonna ask?
Oh, that's it too.
Okay, really
And
quick.
final
I'm sorry.
question.
Okay.
Final
All right,
question.
final question.
Yeah.
Okay,
Quick
so
answer.
if you could stitch into any dead TV or movie character, who would it be?
Ooh.
Like if it does, they don't
my
have to
God.
be dead, but if you were to
If I
stitch into
could.
a character, yeah, to find out memories or information.
Mufasa.
I
Oh.
like that.
She just dropped the mic right there.
Why?
I love you were so quick too. You were like Mufasa.
That
I love
Like
it.
I had that in mind.
Done.
That
I
is
really
it.
didn't. I saw someone ask this earlier. Thank you everyone for your question.
Oh, okay, good.
I saw them ask it and I was like, I don't know. And I just thought of it in that moment and I'm proud of it.
I am proud of
Hey,
it.
Done.
I bet you
Proud.
anything you guys, all the actors on that show, they would not think of something like that.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't ever.
Yep.
Everyone.
And really quickly, do you want to just throw out a prediction for season 3 if we were to have a season 3? Fingers crossed.
We're going to have a season
We
3.
are going to.
Yes.
We're
I
going to be
think
We knew
positive.
Stitchers 3.
I think we've said everything as far as what we predict. My
Yeah.
biggest thing, you know, since we have a lot of the fans watching, yes, sign the petitions, keep on going, keep
Yeah.
on tweeting, keep on putting the digital views on the freeformapp.com. But I think the biggest thing the fans can do, we see it with shows like Veronica Mars, get your friends who are not maybe necessarily Stitchers fans, get them to retweet these things.
Yeah.
Get them to sign the petitions.
Get them to
that's
watch.
What, yeah, that's what gets those numbers really swelling and builds that. That's what makes the statement, you know.
Yeah.
The Stitchers fans, we can't just talk with each other. We got to get the Liars fans. We got to get
Yeah.
all of them in, and that's what's really going to help renew the show. And I know that that's what we're going into now that
Yeah.
this is the season finale.
You know what? Pin drop. That was inspiring.
Yep.
That was inspiring. Let's do it, guys. Well, we are very sad that this is our last Stitchers After Show for now.
For now.
For now.
But we love you guys. Where can we find you guys on social media?
As always, talk Stitchers, talk everything else that you guys know I'm involved with at AfterBuzz, Double G on TV.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Becca B Talks TV.
And
Hey, I'm on Instagram at not Sarah Davenport and on Twitter at SC Davenport.
yes, and thank you so much for joining
Yes,
us.
thank you.
Hey,
Much
thanks
fun.
for having
Thank you.
me.
And you guys
Thank
can find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at Mr. Dakota T. Jones. Please like, subscribe, all of that. Rate us on iTunes. We love you guys. We love hearing your thoughts. And for now, we are signing out.
Hey, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.